Dark tales that never get old. Chaos proves but it's sublime. Ghost busting echoes through time. It's Dave's Dimension, where the lines collide. What's between blood? Take the ride, take the ride.
Hey guys, welcome back again to Dave's Dimension. Welcome back again for another live stream. I know it's been kind of a minute since we've done live stream. Got a lot of air to clear. Um, if you saw the title of the stream, time to change. Our community's even real anymore? That's going to be the discussion. I'm not planning a terribly insanely long stream. As you can see, the dimension is obviously, I have a bunch of stuff I'm trying to clear up around here. We're trying to do some reorganizing. I got some brown paper bags behind me. We're experimenting with a lot of different stuff, some cool stuff, but I also wanted to address some serious issues. Now, a long time ago, what, about 6 years ago now? A little bit of 5.5, maybe to 6 years ago, I started my journey with YouTube. Okay, I just thought, hey, it was COVID time, honestly. you know, and just before COVID time, and I said, I think it'd be cool if I could do, I'm like, just about anybody can do a YouTube channel. At least that was kind of the concept back then. And I'm like, hey, maybe I'll do, I started to get into some prop stuff, and I'm like, hey, if I can do these prop mods, anybody can. You guys have probably heard me say this 1,000 times over. I do want to say hello to the chat. We got Mega Dan Collects. We also have Ultra Cardizilla saying, hey, what is up? We're not using StreamYard anymore. I'm not paying for the exuberant costs that I was being charged for it. I have some other bills that need my money more so than that. So we're actually doing this right off OBS. So right now we're doing just completely off OBS. So if there's any audio issues, please call it out in chat. I would greatly appreciate that, guys. So, long story short, I found myself getting into the toy tuber communities, at least a few small ones. And then those community connections and networking allowed me to meet other people. I started, came across Sleeping Collectibles, and I became a part of his community. And back then, it was, there was, a couple times a week, you'd run across the same people or you meet new people, and like the channels you subscribe to just grew and grew and grew. And, that was a great thing. But I will say this, since then, let's see here. We got Archer in the chat. Archer's saying, "Sup everyone? Don't have my AirPods and we're watching a movie, so I'll be team replay. Not a problem." And I fully will expect Archer to give me some feedback on this stream, because this stream is going to be kind of a can of mixed nuts, so to speak. Whatever movie you're watching, Archer, I hope it's a very awesome one. And by the way, Archer, because of you, I have started watching Alien Earth. I am on like episode 2 and I'm enjoying it so far. I'll leave it open for the view. I appreciate this. I'm not doing this stream for any views. This is more of kind of me talking about a few different things and also clearing the air. I hate to say this, but as of late, I've been feeling a certain level of ungenuineness, if that's even a term. Maybe it's a term for us now. When it comes to a lot of the creator space, some of this, I'll be honest, is, in fact, guys, if you're not following Nerd Affiliated, hey Archer, please go ahead and subscribe to him. Check out his Daily Planet issues every day. He does these amazing daily videos, just pointing out certain aspects of the creator space. Just talking about every day, kind of like a mini vlog, if you will. And a lot of those videos are bringing up some very good points, you know, such as, you don't have to, if you want to upgrade your channel or your content, you don't necessarily have to do that by getting the best and the greatest cameras. You can start off with like little tweaks, little things. Sometimes there's more substance that you can do without the flash. And you definitely should check out Daily Planet on Nerd Affiliated. Go ahead and check it out. And don't forget, every Thursday night, 8 p.m., 8:15 p.m. ish Eastern, Hey Archer live. So go ahead and check that out. I just want to give a shout out because Archer's always been supportive with my content. He's a solid person. He's a genuine person in the creator space. Okay, and that's what I kind of want to talk about. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of good people out there, but there are a lot of other communities that are not so genuine. And I'm not calling out specifics. What I'm kind of pointing out is that I removed myself from a few large groups, a few large Instagram and Twitter based groups, and I gotta be honest, not a single one reached out to me, asked me, "Hey, uh, where'd you go? How are you doing?" None of that, and that's perfectly fine. Life is about change. Content is always evolving and changing. Our content is not always the same that it was when we first started. I mean, one of my first videos was a very rough video unboxing one of my Samsung monitors, which I still use to this day, by the way. um, it was a very rough video, and of course now if I do an unbox, my videos are not perfect, mind you, but it is a quantum leap than what I started out with. Okay, that's just an example. Our Ultra Carzilla says in the chat, haven't went to theaters to watch movies in over a year. I wanted to watch Primitive War so badly, but it was in select theaters, and my theater chose or closed to me. Wasn't one of the select theaters. Sorry to hear that. Um, but going back to what I was saying is there are some communities that they try to purport themselves or have an appearance that, hey, this isn't just a community. These are your friends, these are your family, these are people who are going to be with you in tough times and as well as the awesome times. But that's not always the case. We've seen some negativity in the creator space recently. Uh, Rightfully so. There was a kind of a heinous act that took place, or a heinous person was kind of exposed. Uh, and we actually saw some conflicts. We saw some people kind of drawing the line in the sand and ripping some people apart, and vice versa. I'll be honest, I was someone who was criticizing the approach of some people. Okay? I'll be perfectly honest. I was criticizing the approach that I didn't think people needed to take it so far or to start attacking others. And listen, we could spend three streams talking back and forth about that separate issue all by itself, but we're not gonna. But the fact of the matter is, people who say that, and regardless of the person and the acts, I mean, it comes down to outside of that person and what they did, which is despicable in my book. But again, that's a whole other story. But the fact of the matter is, if someone is in your community, is in a community, and they message, they pop in your streams all the time, and they leave comments like, "Hey, I'm leaving a like. Hey, I'm supporting you." But when those people in that community, you're always supporting them, but doesn't really seem to ever be any reciprocation. You know, no returning of the favor. That's not really a community. Community is supposed to be, hey, if you got some content coming out, let me know what it is. I'll try and stop by if I can. We all have lives. We all have a lot of craziness going on in our lives, but you can still you can still try your best to make an effort. I mean, I would have if I'm off, I will have multiple tabs open of people who I know are simultaneously streaming at the same time. I'll have maybe a tab or two open on my phone. I'll be commenting on someone's stream on my phone while commenting on the different tabs. I used to try and pop up on everyone's streams as best as I possibly could. Okay. And I did start to burn out after that because you can't. And I was a mod in a lot of people's channels, to be perfectly honest. But it can run you down. And I found myself focusing and supporting other people's streams, other people's content, and my content was losing focus. Not just from me, but also other people. People who I supported all the time were no longer supporting me. And it made me second guess myself. It made me second guess, was my content any good? Was I not am I not cool enough? And I thought these were my friends, but they seem to say, "Hey, we're yeah, I'm going to stop by," and then they never do, and you get that you get that vibe like, "Hmm, this is kind of interesting." It makes you kind of rethink things. But then, if you take a step back, sometimes when you take a step back, you get kind of you start to notice a look. You start to, if you ever been that person who kind of like steps back into the corner at a party, you start watching people, watching their movements, watching how they act, and sometimes you can kind of see, maybe a different side or a different light to that person, right? And that's what I've been noticing is there's a few large groups who I said, hey, I'm gonna, hey, and honestly, one group I even asked, I asked one of the people and head of it, I said, have I offended anyone? Because I'll comment and I don't see anyone really responding, and their response was, well, the group has grown so large that I think it's just that there's so many people in there, messages get lost in the mix, and I'm sure that happens. But you would think like someone who's been a part of a group for a couple years, so for a couple years, you think like people would wonder like, hey, where did so and so go? No messages whatsoever. And that kind of shows you who are your friends and who aren't your friends. Now, I've had my ups and downs in the past 3 or 4 years. I've had times where I wasn't making as much content, and I had people reaching out to me. You know, I have people who I consider not just my friends, not just my YouTube, colleagues or collaborators, if you will, but I have people who I message on a daily basis. Who, if I'm doing something exciting, I will send them a message. Send them a pic, or even ask them for their thoughts on stuff. We got Maven and Madness popping in the chat. Thank you, Maven. Um, but that's the thing. There's a lot of, I guess, is the word ingenuine? People who just are not real. People who are just being, they're just a facade. I mean, with me, I always try to be me. When it comes to content creating, you see a lot of YouTube experts talk about writing a script. Writing a script, having an outline. Hey, I'm going to do this. And they're going to have some kind of like, maybe they'll have a tablet in front of them as a teleprompter, that kind of a thing. That's not me. I always fly by the seat of my pants because that is who I am. You know, I don't plan things out. I try to have an idea what I'm going to do, and then I just kind of go and I react and I react and I react. That's me. I don't plan things out. I'm like, hey, I kind of want to talk about this, and this, and let's go ahead and let's just see what happens. And that's why, I mean, that's just me. Everyone's different. Okay, there you go. We got Ostradamus Toys, the Ozman himself, the Ozman cometh. Uh, damn right, Dave. Forget the script. Go with the flow. But that's the thing. There's a lot of YouTubers out there, a lot of content creators who they have a facade of who they are, you know, and maybe that works for some, and that's not the way for everyone. But the thing is, what I'm getting at is, are communities even real anymore? Okay, there are some communities that are tremendous out there. Okay, there are some communities that are very small. I think the small communities are some of the tight ones, or at least they try to be. But the problem is nowadays, there's so many different communities out there. I would love to say that Dave's Dimension has a community. It doesn't. Okay, it does not. For all intents and purposes, I'm a dimension of one. You know, I text my brother Dre all the time. Dre the Collector Safe Space, Dre the Geek Dad. You guys know him. Uh, he's literally my best friend. He's my brother from another mother. I mean, when he's got tough things going on, I'm messaging him. He's messaging me. We're literally brothers. Okay, tough times, bright times, we're there. Okay, we have the Collector Safe Space, which is a little IG group that we have. We have a few people, and not everyone is always active because hey, we have other lives and we have other groups. Okay, there's so many groups out there. I mean, that's one thing I was a part of. I can name a few, but I don't want to put anyone on blast. There were several groups who I used to be very tight with, but I removed myself from it because during the day my phone would be going off with like IG messages from like five or six different IG groups. And that might be small compared to some people. Okay? I was kind of selective of what groups I was going to remain with. There was a small group of someone who I would consider a friend who I almost never hear from because I removed myself from his group. But I let him know why I was removing myself from the group. I said, I'm involved with too many groups. I'm removing myself from your chat. But ironically, afterwards, I started hearing less and less. The only time I hear from him is if I see him go live, I'll pop up in his chat. He'll do like an obligatory, hey, hello, hey, hey, Dave's mentioned. He'll say, he'll do the polite greeting, and that's about it. You know, and that shows you who your friends really are. It really does. Okay. Now we have a few people who are popping in the chat. Now, I literally scheduled this stream maybe about an hour ago, and the real people who I know are going to support the channel have already popped into the chat. Nerd affiliated. Hey Archer, I know he will. Like you said, he's watching a movie with the wife, but he's got he already told me he'll be team replay. I appreciate that. That's genuine. If you have stuff going on, if you can only pop in for a moment and say hello, that's great. But at least showing that effort. Nostradamus Toys. We have Maven and Madness. We had Megadan. Now, those are, and apparently I'm having some buffering issues on YouTube, so hopefully this catches up. Hold on, guys. There's a little buffering going on. There we go. So apparently YouTube was buffering, so I apologize if you guys saw a little bit of buffering. My connection on my side is perfectly fine, but that's what I'm getting to. When it comes to genuine communities, I mean, the people who I'm messaging or mentioning here are the people who are the real ones. The people who, they see how you're doing. If they don't hear from you for a while, they're gonna check in on you. Aaron Colbane Games. Oz. He says I do my best trying to keep up with everyone. Yeah, see that's the thing. Oz has the clubhouse on Saturday nights, but he's a part of all these other amazingly popular groups. But the thing is, in each of those groups, you could probably have 50 to 100 to 150 people. And when you're subscribing to all those people, it's hard to try and watch them. And for a long time, I was doing streams on Tuesday nights on the regular. But the problem is, again, there's other live streamers who are going live. In fact, 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, Kenzo's Creations is going live talking about how to tell when to switch up your collection, when to rotate things. You guys, if you're in the toy community, if you're toy collectors or just collectors in general, that's a great stream to go check out. Again, Kenzo's Creations on YouTube, 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. But see, that's the thing. Real communities, real friends will always do what they can to help promote each other. You know, whether it's a share on an IG story or sharing something on a Facebook or Discord. That's another thing. I have my own Discord. I've never utilized it because I'm in everyone else's damn Discord. Okay? I probably am signed up to about 100 different Discords. It's not even funny. I will never develop my Discord. That's just me. We got Maven Madness saying, "What's up, Colbane?" Tiger says, "Hope you're doing well. Finally caught a live." Yeah, this is not the live I wanted to do. Okay. The question is, are communities even real? Now, I see Tiger streams. He does these amazing Fortnite streams. He has a lot of people who are joining him for live play. It's amazing. You know, the smaller knit communities, I think, are some of the strong ones. But again, you have everyone's schedules to contend with. And my camera just zoomed. Come on, zoom out. There you go. Ninja vanish. Uh, but that's the thing. It's as of lately, I've been feeling like communities are not real. Sometimes the larger the communities, the harder it is to kind of keep that same vibe, keep that same uh that same I don't want to say charisma, but that same kind of, you know, feeling of, hey, this is my home, this is my crew, these are my people. It's kind of hard to feel that, you know? And I'll be honest, in the collecting space, in the YouTube toy tuber space, it's kind of hard because, well, you might like someone's content, but then a lot of the things that they collect or that some of the people in their community collect are going to be different from you. So it's kind of hard to anchor on and hang on to that. Um, and the thing is with that is there's genuine people and then there's not genuine people. Has Clubhouse welcomes everyone from all walks of life and all walks of collecting. Whether you're into Motu, GI Joe, Transformers, vintage, everything, and that's great. It's great to have some communities where they kind of welcome everyone, and it's an amazing large party every Saturday night. Sometimes it's never ending. Oz can speak to that. But then there's other communities where it just seems like they're trying to do sub for sub. And Aaron, if you're in the chat, Aaron knows this. Colbank Games, he knows that once upon a time, a lot of us did sub for sub. Sub for sub is like, hey, I have a channel. If you sub to my channel, I'll sub back to you. That don't mean jack. It really doesn't, people. What it means is that person's going to subscribe to your channel, you get that sub, and you'll be lucky if they ever watch your content again. Oz is chiming in. So true, and not everyone gets along all the time, but that makes the conversation engaging. I almost said engaging, giggity, giggity. No, engaging. But see, that's the thing. Sometimes having fun arguments, like again, Oz, I hope you don't mind me using Clubhouse again as an example. Uh, Not everyone has the same kind of opinions of collecting, and there are some personalities, and I'm using the term personalities respectfully. Again, my camera, Jesus, my hand gestures. I got to turn the gesture thing off. I really do. Uh, with the personalities, sometimes you get personalities that where they, one person's personality, you know, likes to kind of, you know, get on a soapbox and talk and talk and talk, and because maybe their stick or their approach is kind of creating waves, causing a ruckus. But that means that brings more people to the, bring more boys to the yard. Uh, we got Slothman in the chat. Hey, welcome, Slothman. Colbane says, yeah, sub for sub doesn't really do anything because hey, it's great if a person subs to your channel, but what really matters is if they continue to watch your channel. Okay, and that's the thing. This day and age, when it comes to content creating, we are so, and a lot of us have said, hey, I'm not going to focus on the numbers, but guess what? We focus on the damn numbers. We are always going to focus on the numbers. And in fact, YouTube made some announcements today about some changes that they're going to be doing. YouTube Studio is going to have more AI where it will actually, it can actually review or kind of do an overview of your stream and tell you when people were dropping off view wise and when people were clicking in and when your views dropped. That's going to cause, from an analytical point of view, I think that's great because maybe, hey, I can focus on this and that. And maybe I can find, okay, what moments, what were people really interested in that they stayed on to watch, and at one point did they drop off? But guess what? The flip side of that coin. Let's look at the flip side of that coin. There's going to be some of us who look at those numbers like, oh, they started dropping off when we were doing this and this, but this is these were some of the fun parts of the stream, and that can really do a number on our heads. I mean, there's so many of us who the numbers can be poisoning, you know? I mean, I myself, I did a change last week, and the change gave me some of my I did two videos last week of on one of my recent, I shouldn't say recent, but something I've been tooling around with the past year, which is 3D printing. You guys know I'm getting more and more into 3D prints, and it's really made a difference. And last week, I dropped two videos, and those were some of the highest view videos I've had maybe almost all year, with the exception of Stream for the Cure. These were probably my highest viewed videos, which, in the grand scheme of YouTube, they weren't that earth shattering, but for my channel, they were. And to me, that kind of sends a message like, hey, maybe I need to stick with this. This is something that, hey, I did two separate videos about 3D printing, and they weren't earth shattering. One video was just me talking about my journey with my failure of using an Ender 3 Pro Max, and then me using, getting to the P1P, and then finally upgrading by getting a conversion kit, modifying my P1P into a P1S printer. I know this sounds like Greek to you guys, but that video alone. Now, usually when if I did an unbox video or some of my basic, like doing like a review of a gimbal I got, I might get 20 or 30 views. I'll be honest. That's perfectly honest right there. Some of my best videos might get 50 or 60 views. Okay? The video of me just talking here about my journey as far as 3D printing and what I might like to do in the future, we're talking over 330 views within the first week, within the first few days, honestly. And then I did a video on a small little upgrade to my P1S printer, a small little digital tablet, which has its limitations and has been out for like 2.5 years. And that one it's gotten like, I think, 370, 380 views. So for my channel to get that many views within a handful of days is pretty big. Which, I made I made the determination that I feel like I don't exactly fit in the toy space anymore. I'm still going to be a toy collector. I'm still going to buy the nostalgic, but I can't honestly sit here and say, am I a toy tuber anymore? I can't do that because when it comes to toy tube, for the most part, it comes down to people who are getting the latest and greatest. And honestly, I gotta put my family, my wife and I gotta put our finances and our being first. You know, so would I love to sit here and say, yeah, I want to buy the latest and greatest? I can't. I just can't because it's not realistic. And are there a few figures I would love to have? Do I have room for figures? I do have room for some figures, but I also got rid of a lot of my Hot Toys this past year because I wanted to do something that I felt was amazing and was, for me, a bucket list. I sold a couple of my Hot Toys. The Hot Toy market right now is not great, so I took a hit on that, but I was able to afford a going to Fan Expo Canada, and I got a photo op with Michael J. Fox and Chris Lloyd. For me, that was something pretty big. It was pretty heavy. It's an amazing memory for me. But oh, here we go. Colbane says, I left the toy space myself. Exactly. Aaron used to do DC McFarlane reviews on a lot of stuff, and he had some, if I remember correctly, some NECA Alien stuff. And we got Rolando in the chat, by the way. Rolando, sorry if I didn't mention you earlier. Maven of Madness, Bree. She says, you seem happier when you are 3D printing. I'll be honest, 3D printing, it allows me to make stuff. Okay, those that don't know, let me peel the curtain back just a wee bit. When I was younger, my dad used to, we would he used to work for an auto glass place when he was alive, and they would have these wood pallets, right? They would have these wood pallets that they would ship the glass in. Again, I swear to God, this camera's gonna be the death of me. Zoom out. I said zoom out. There you go. So I swear that thing's gonna be the death of me. Yeah. So what we would do is we would go to the auto glass, Frontier Auto Glass, Buffalo, New York. Uh, we would go there. We would take the old wood pallets and we would bring them home. What he would do is he would have me take the nails off the out of the boards of wood, out of the pallets, and we would cut off the rough parts of the pallets, and we would sand the wood down, and reuse it. As crazy as that sounds, that's what we would do. And my dad would make these amazing. You ever see like the little lawn ornaments, like the wood birds with the propeller wings and stuff? We would make that stuff out of the scrap wood, but we would sand it, paint it, and you couldn't even tell. We would do a lot of woodworking. I used to help my dad, uh, make picnic tables and stuff. You know, we built stuff. We would take stuff that's just laying around, and we would turn nothing into something. And that's something I always liked. When I was even younger, before my brothers were even born, uh, the first house we lived at, we had a big, massive basement, and we had two train tables. My dad, built both train tables, and he used to show me how to, how we did two train sets. I had an HO, he had an N scale, you know, and even with model kits, those that don't know, I had hand and eye coordination issues when I was a little kid. So he helped me by having me, work with my hands a lot. It helped my coordination a big amount. Okay. And I would build model kits with him too. I wasn't the greatest at doing it, but it was great. It was fun. I love building, you know? And for me to be able to 3D print almost anything and build something, I think that's probably why people are seeing that. Yes, I have this energy, I have this motivation, I have this vibe back again when it comes to building. I love modding Ghostbuster stuff. I mean, you guys, you heard me talk about the Ghostbusters Proton Pack right there. Let me turn my chair around so you guys can see it. I mean, I've done that. I have my HasLab Proton Pack, which I'm still modifying, and I've still got to make sure whether or not I'm going to do a special mod right before this weekend for Hamilton Comic Con. But I mean, that's the thing. 3D printing. Now, the Bamboo Labs. You guys have heard me about the Bamboo Labs. Their printers. I swear to God, if you want to get into 3D printing and you want the easiest way to go, it's Bamboo. Bamboo makes things so much easier. Uh, Aaron says, Yeah, I felt like an alien there, and many times I try and be a part of community, and nobody batted an eye." Tiger says, "I think you evolved in time. I think you evolved in time interest in what you have, as I used to collect many hobbies, and I find myself looking for the next chase or something else. At this point, I enjoy games and technology. Definitely. I mean, I've always tried to say Dave's Dimension was tech, toys, and talk, and right now, it's more tech and talk. It's not. It's more like tech and talk, really. I love and don't get me wrong, me and Dre, we are planning on bringing back the Outer Dimension podcast potentially at some point in time. We just have to we have to find a time on when to do it. We have to find a rhythm as when to do it because he's got a lot going on in his life. And I'm sure Dre doesn't mind me saying, mentioning that, he needs he needs to find some focus again. He needs to find that motivation, but he needs to find that family balance first. And I agree with him 100%. There's times when I'm still trying to find my focus. I mean, there's a lot of times in the past when I've been focusing on everyone else's channel but mine, and I need to kind of refocus on mine. That's why I did the two 3D printing videos. I do plan on doing another 3D print video this week. If it performs like the other two, then I know that I'm on the right path. Okay? I mean, one of the best things I did was, about a year and a half ago, I built this thing. I built this computer, not all by myself. Well, I physically built it by myself, But jumped on a community known as Brayathorn. There's this amazing content creator who specializes in pre-built gaming, in pre-built PC systems, and also if you want to custom build your own. And someone from his community helped me out, pick out the parts, and I was able to shop around the parts. I made a few compromises, but I built this damn computer, the Grid, and this thing has been amazing ever since. I mean, I love technology. I love building. I mean, let me see if I can move this around. Let's see. Let's see. We're just gonna let me pull up the controls for the camera here. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're gonna turn off normal tracking. There you go. Oh, the other way. Yeah, so this computer, excuse the mess, excuse the Flintstones vitamins, nutrition approved. But this is my computer. I was able to source all the parts, bought the case separately, bought everything separately, but I built it myself. Okay, I love this thing. This is probably the best computer I've ever had, and I built it. I designed it. I do have some external hard drives that you can't see around anywhere, hidden, for all my movies and TV shows that I've downloaded over the years. But this is what I love doing. Hell, I'm an Eagles fan, and I 3D printed this last year. Okay, 3D printing lets me build some pretty friggin' amazing stuff. And speaking of 3D printing, now what I do in my spare time to help out the cosplay team I'm a part of is I print these little mini puffs. And I might as well show you guys. I'm working on a new version of the mini puff. Now, I'm not designing them from scratch, mind you. Let's put the auto tracking back on. There we go. So, have you guys seen the Ectoglow Ghostbusters? Now, this looks like a mini puff, right? Let's turn off a few lights. Nope. This is a glow-in-the-dark mini puff. As you can see, it's glowing. Charge it up with a little bit of UV light. Glow-in-the-dark fluorescent. There you go. So that's something I'm still trying to work. You can kind of see some of the print lines up close. So I'm still trying to work on that. But that's one little thing that I'm working on. Oh. There you go. So that's one thing that I'm working on to try and make some stuff. Oz says, "Oh shiz, Dave, I need a glow-in-the-dark puff." Yeah. So that's something I'm trying to do now. Those files for the mini puffs, my wife bought the files about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, online, and I 3D printed them myself. Okay. Now the glow in the dark, I was like, well, you know, it'd be cool. There is glow in the dark filament, and I'm like, well, what if I can make glow in the dark mini puffs? Now Hasbro, they are doing the Ecto Glow Ghostbuster figures, which I have a set. They have the Ecto Glow Ecto 1 that's coming out later next year. And they have the Ecto Glow Slimer and Stay Puft 2-pack coming out soon. But I'm like, they're probably not going to do the mini puffs, but I think the mini puffs would be pretty cool. There we go. So I'm still trying to tune everything in because I don't know how well the camera will pull this up, but you can kind of faintly see there's like a line. There's print lines in there that show how the pattern kind of crisscrosses. And I'm trying to hide that if I can. But, I mean, first glance, not bad. I mean, there's a little bleed through with some of the coloring. And I made the tongue purple because that's kind of the colors of the color scheme for the Stay Puft. Let me see if I can pull up an image and I'll show you guys right now. So I am working on a lot of different stuff. Let's see here. Okay, so these are the official Slimer and Stay Puft. The Stay Puft ribbon is coming off kind of purple. So that's where that purple tongue came out, and I'm going to do a ribbon, which is going to be that glow in the dark purple as well. So I'm working on a few different things. I am also looking at possibly trying to learn how to design stuff, but that's going to be a whole conversation onto itself. Hey, Dragon Alex, welcome to the stream. Tiger says, looks amazing though. Yeah, it's just a crazy little idea I had to kind of change things up. And I just think it would be something kind of cool to do. And I don't have plans on doing an Etsy shop or anything like that. I don't. I'm not trying to do this as a business, but I think it would be cool to do just for cost for, some friends. If some friends are interested after I can dial everything in, I think that would be cool. The smile on the Marshmallow Man. Well, we have 3 designs. We have the scared look. Then we have like the Mini Puff come here look, But yeah, these are all glow in the dark PLA. And what's great is if you're a toy collector, you can get like these little inexpensive black lights. And instantly I can hold it over here and he's already going to start to glow. I mean, you can just have this as a display for the Echo Glows, which I think would be cool. And it automatically charges up the Mini Puff, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm working on a bunch of different things right now. I am also possibly, I say possibly, I have my 1P1S here behind me, but who knows? In the future, there may be a second one. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the creator gods are shining on me. We'll see if that happens, because then I can print twice as much things, maybe some more complex things. I do plan on doing a special Ghostbusters 3D print later on, maybe in the next couple months. We'll see what happens. It depends on what's going on. Stay tuned. But this stream was about community. And I'm seeing everyone who has always been there for me. I mean, Colbane, Oz, Maven, Rolando, Dragon Alex, thank you for coming into the stream and hanging out. He says, nothing much. My brother's baseball game, and that's about it. And of course, Tiger for coming through. Yeah, I've been working on a lot of different things. Of course, I do have on pre-order the Ghostbusters 84 Proton Pack. I don't plan on doing any mods to that, but maybe some electronic mods. We'll see what happens. I always say I'm not going to do something, and then I go ahead and do it. Tiger sent me here, amazing stream. Thank you, Dragon Alex. Yeah, Dave's Dimension has always been Misfits. Always been a place for Misfits, okay? Rolando, thank you for sharing everyone's... I will fix one thing here. Because Tiger's always trying to pop up into the streams, and he's always welcoming me in his stream, so... I'll give you a little wrench there. There you go, my friend. A few other people who deserve to have some wrenches are going to get wrenched right now. When I say wrenched, that means that you're going to get the ability to share links and to kick anyone who is stepping out of line. So there you go. Ultra Carazilla says, I've been working on getting certain elites for parts, swappages, and customs, and my most recent elite custom is Tony Storm. There you go. Megadan Collects popping up into the chat. Hey, Megadan. Art, thank you for sharing. By the way, Rolando, thank you for sharing Archer's stream. Yep. So Rolando, does that mean you are wrench strong? Maven says excited. Very cool. What are you excited for? Sleep? No, in fact, I have to 3D print some things for a few people, or for one person in this chat right now. I'm waiting for the right gold filament to arrive, so calm down. Um, but there's a few things I need to print for a few people. That's where a second printer would come in, because then I can print the stuff a little bit quicker, maybe get the stuff out as soon as possible. And he says, whenever my ringside exclusive Ultimate Edition CM Punk gets shipped mid next month, I will be using the parts to convert the Elite Pipe Bomb CM Punk into Ultimate Edition. There you go. Uh, yeah, she says she's been waiting for my crown. Isn't everyone excited for sleep? No, I rarely sleep. Like, I tend to go sleep about 1 or 2 in the morning, and then I get up around like 7 or 8 maybe. So we'll see. Sleep is not really a thing. It is. It is an illusion. But I was talking about the importance of community. How I feel communities don't really feel real all that much. It's kind of hard. It's far and few when you find a community that is actually supportive and there for you through the tough times and bad times, through the terrible times, through the good times. I will say I appreciate. I mean, like this past year with Stream for the Cure. Stream for the Cure uh, came out clutch because of, you know, Dre reaching out to a bunch of people, a bunch of amazing people. Asking them, "Hey, do you want to come on?" I mean, we had people like Mega J, we had Dave, we had Oz and the crew coming through, and that support meant so damn much. I can't tell you how much. I mean, Stream for the Cure is always something that is a bit important, very important. I mean, I have a family member who's dealing with cancer. I was on one of my wife's best friends. They are going through another round of cancer. Um, Cancer doesn't care, so anyone who ever steps up and supports that, you will have my eternal respect for that always. But I mean, that's just something. It's just, there's real life issues that happen. Life gets in the way, but a lot of times I'm wearing shorts. Calm down. The camera goofs up sometimes. Um, but the thing is, you get people who are genuine, but then you get people who aren't genuine, and I think that's where some of the disconnect is. I mean, if you watch someone like Archer, that's exactly who he is in real life and on and off camera. This is who I am on and off camera. I am crazy. Okay, I am. I have. I'll be honest. There's a little OCD, and like, hey, Luke, squirrel. There you go. My mind is always going off in 1,000 different directions, and that's why I think YouTube always has a hard time with me, because my interests are everywhere. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Mega. Yeah, sorry, Mega. Mega's talking about his cat Joey has a cancerous tumor in his stomach. Tiger says, "Yeah, I'm taking my grandfather in the morning to do surgery for cancer tomorrow." Crazy you bringing that up, uh, Tiger. You know, thoughts and prayers for your grandfather for tomorrow for the surgery. Uh, those I know, Tiger. I know you know me through Cobain streams, but I do an annual bike riding fundraiser every year here in Buffalo, New York, called the Ride for Roswell, which benefits Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Institute. It's something that's very dear to my wife, to me. So it's something we've been doing for the past and for the past few years, I've been doing Stream for the Cure. So once a year, I do past couple years, I'm doing between 8 and 10 hours. This year, we did 24 hours straight live stream. So if that's something you want to possibly be a part of, in 2026, let me know and We'll work all the details out. I mean, we know cancer doesn't care. Doesn't care whether you're old, young, small, fat, bald. You know, doesn't care. Doesn't care where you're from or what you're doing. You can be the picture of health, and it could come on you. Okay, but that's something that's always been. Whenever there's anything cancer related, Dave's Dimension is always going to be there to help support in some shape or form. Okay, so yeah, we know cancer doesn't care, and we will never give up supporting it. Okay, or supporting the foundations and the hospitals and the cancer research centers who help fight it. Megadan says that's a contributor on why I announced my retirement and fears of YouTube beefs and drama. Colbane in the house. Archer saying. Uh, Dragon Alex says I agree with that. See, that's the thing. It's like YouTube can be very toxic. Okay, there's different camps, there's different groups, but I mean, for me, I've always been kind of the outcast, and it's kind of hard to be a part of something when you are the outcast. Um, Rolando's mentioning how he has kidney cancer, and we always have our thoughts and prayers for you, Rolando. And if the day ever comes that you need some help, you know we're all here for you. Colbane, me, we're all here for you if you ever need anything. And like Rolando, let me ask you. You know that I was a part of a large Instagram group. Um, I bet that group, as far as I know, that group never wondered where I went. So, but apparently, I hear that group is thriving, and more power to them. Tiger says, "Thanks, brother. I'm very close to my grandfather. I do look at it this way. He is 87, so he's lived a very long life. So blessed in that aspect if things go south. Yeah, he's lived a long life, but let's be honest. Everyone in this chat reading this right now, they all want him to live even longer for you, so you can have more memories with your grandfather. Okay, as someone who as someone who has no grandparents right now, my grandparents died a number of years ago. Also, my parents have been gone for a number of years. And we found out that the day my dad passed, we found out that he actually had cancer. He was hiding it, you know? Um, it's something that it hits on a lot of levels. Dragon Alex says, you can't just stream with drama and beef happening. Some people just don't know how to get along anymore. That's definitely true. And I'll be perfectly honest. I have had my own rounds of beef with other people. Um, those in the chat know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention that guy's name, but him and his partner were attacking a lot of people who could not speak for themselves. So someone had to just, you know, step up, and I did. Uh, but we also lost a lot. We lost a lot of a lot. We lost followers. We lost view hours. Uh, thanks to people doing talking behind other people's backs. But it is what it is, and that's what it was, and that's all it will ever be. Um, but that's the thing. You're always gonna find. You're always gonna have someone who's trying to start drama somewhere. Okay. And for me, one of the things is you say one thing, but you act a different way. That always drives me insane. Okay. I'm not a fake person. I'm exactly who I am. Hell, in the two 3D printing videos I did, I said I am far from being a pro. I will forever be a novice, and that's always true. I'm always going to be a novice. Would I love to do some game streams? Yes, but a lot of the games I like to play, guess what? Copyright music on YouTube, so I can't stream on YouTube. I was even looking and considering doing stuff on Twitch, but part of me doesn't want to necessarily have to start all over and see if I can find my vibe. You know? Uh, Maven says, "Oh, Dragon says, anyone. Anyways, have a good rest of your night. I'm gonna go back to watching my brother's game. Much love. Yeah, enjoy some Fortnite." Uh, Maven Amanda says, "Hey, I'm sorry this old lady has to hop off. Stay positive, Dave. Your true community will be there for you." Again, I I don't I know this is gonna sound weird, but I feel like there I don't have a community. I have friends who will periodically pop in on my streams. That's what I have, and that's kind of the honest view that I have. I was gonna actually label this dimension of one because sometimes that's how I feel. To be perfectly honest, sometimes I do feel like it's one person trying to make a difference, but you just kind of have to go for it. Yes, I do. I do Fortnite under the name Dave's Dimension. So you can always add me on Epic. Because I'm a PC player. I know that's crazy. I'm a PC gamer. I do play some games occasionally on PS5, but when it comes to shooter games, I'm straight up PC. So you can add me on Epic under Dave's Dimension. That's DAVES DIMENSION. There you go. And Bree says you do have community friends are community. Yes, he does, Dragon. Okay, I can speak for myself. See, PC gamers, Master Race. There you go. There you go. But that's the thing. I will say this. I hate to say the words that I am not a toy tuber, but I'm not a toy tuber. Okay, I'm someone who likes to do talking streams. I am someone who likes to do tech. Okay, I love to unbox some tech. I was going to do some videos on the gimbals that I got, but I never got around to it. I even have some very awesome mics now for doing recording. Maybe I'll do some recording this weekend at Hamilton Comic Con. We'll see what happens. Archer is a bad influence when it comes to technology. Damn you. Uh, but we're going to be doing a lot more 3D printing with this channel. I hope you guys stick with it. But I want to say this: if you are only here for sub, if you're only doing sub for sub, if you're not interested in the content, if you're just here to kind of like, oh well, I'm just gonna pop in and throw a like and move on, you're not needed. If you don't actually genuinely like my content, like my video, like who I am, do me a favor and please unsub to this channel. I want to refocus this channel, making content that people actually enjoy, that they appreciate, that they get something out of. And what I get out of this is the interaction with all you guys right now. Okay? To me, the interaction is what does it for me. Tiger says, don't get started on microphones. No, I'm talking about little portable mics, not the DSLR issue you're having. Now, see, this is a USB mic, but it's also a DSLR. Or, sorry, XLR. I keep saying DSLR. I'm an idiot. XLR connected to a small Milano, cheap, like $40, $50 mixer from Amazon. That's all I have here. That's what I use. I got my Logitech headphones. I need to replace these sometime soon. The foam is all just peeling apart and such. You yell at me all the time through the microphone, Tiger. Tiger says, you know my story. You got him started on mics. It sounds amazing. Yeah, I mean this is like a $60, $60-something fine mic from Amazon. You know, and I got the knockoff mic arm, you know. Hey, it works for me. You know. I enjoy it. It works pretty well. I've had my share of mic issues, but you know, I've rigged it out. You know, it works perfectly fine. I can use this when I'm playing Fortnite, when I'm doing just about everything. Although there was that one time. He really does turn his mic to full volume and yells. Well, I'll be honest, like when I'm watching YouTube, Tiger, your voice volume sounds kind of low, so it's like I kind of have to turn up the volume to hear you. Really? I need to let a friend know about it. But that's the thing, guys. I wanted to kind of do a short stream to see who would actually first, I was curious to see who would actually show. And then second, I wanted to see what kind of interaction we would have. So bottom line is, a lot of times I feel like community is not a good thing. That there's a lot of fakeness. You find some real ones out there, but then there's always going to be some chaos. There's always going to be some disconnects, no matter what. Hell, that happens with family all the time. You know. So the question is community even a real thing anymore? And I would pose that question. I know Archer loves to do his amazing daily planets, so maybe that's something you could do. Megadan says, Dave, you are a great person in a great community. F the haters. Let no one steal your joy, period. Tiger says, thanks for the feedback. I added a suppressor on the Streamlabs, so I may need to adjust it. Yeah, There we go. Hey, here we go. We got another person from another community, Vern of at Oakhurst Studios. We were doing a little stream here because I wanted to say how a lot of times it feels like communities aren't real. How there is almost a you know kind of a fake persona that some people purport, and that some communities are just about, hey, I'm going to pop up in someone's stream so that maybe they will check out my streams. It's the sub for sub theory, and I'm really not subscribing to that anymore. And I even said that, hey, if you're not a fan of my content, if you're not necessarily caring about what I'm doing, if you're not getting any value, as Archer likes to say, if you're not getting any value from my content, if you're just here hoping that I will click on your content because you clicked on mine, then, the unsubscribe button is right below. So if anyone, say if anyone's not getting anything, hey, move on, move on, and this channel is going to be moving forward, doing a lot of 3D. We're going to be doing more 3D printing. I'm going to be learning a lot more, and I'm going to share that information with all you guys. It's going to, Dave's Dimension is always going to be the home for, tech and talk and entertainment here. We got a lot of stuff coming through the pipeline. Rolando, I appreciate you sharing that. There's going to be a lot more 3D printing. Vern, you missed the unveil of the glow-in-the-dark mini puffs that I'm 3D printing. I got some 3D printing filament, and I'm making my own version of Ectoglow, but with mini puffs. We're going to call them Dimension Glows. But I will be posting some pictures on Instagram if you guys are interested. And again, same thing with Instagram that it is with YouTube. Let's see, there we go. Same thing with Instagram along with YouTube. If you appreciate what I post, then please enjoy. If you don't, you can unfollow me on Instagram as well. Okay? I'll be perfectly honest. I have made a lot of posts lately asking for people's opinions on those topics, on those posts. And very rarely will, there's a few exceptions. I do get a few people who do, I get one or two people who comment, but a lot of times when no one comments, it kind of sends a message like, hey, it's not even worth my time. I get a few likes, but I don't get the comments. So it almost feels like, hey, it's what am I even making the posts for? So that's where some of the lack of comments, or the lack of what's the word I'm looking for? The lack of community comes from. Someone makes a post saying, "Hey, I would really love your opinion on something," and nobody comments. That kind of gives you that feel like, hey, why am I making these posts if no one's even participating? I think that's part of it. Is how can you have a community when there is no interaction, when there's no participation? Because just like with YouTube, YouTube measures your activity. It verifies your views and your subs with interaction. You have to have interaction. If you don't have interaction, you're just talking to yourself. I mean, this stream right now, I have 12 people watching right now. 12 people watching, 12 people interacting in the chat. Interaction is key. When you're not interacting, you're just a crazy person talking to a computer screen. I do plan on 3D printing. I'm possibly thinking about 3D printing a Ghostbusters firehouse. Stay tuned to see if we do that. I do have some plans to 3D print some G.I. Joe vehicles. So if you're a G.I. Joe Classified fan, you might want to stay tuned for that. And I may be doing some other custom items. Well, I shouldn't say custom. There's a lot of amazing creators on Etsy who are selling some amazing 3D prints or 3D printing files. And I plan to add my own little twist on some of those. So we'll see what happens. Vern says, rewatch, folks. We'll hear you. But guys, right now it's 6 after 9. There's an amazing content creator by the name of Kenzo Creates, or Kenzo's Creations. You want to check him on YouTube. He is starting an amazing live stream where he's going to talk about when to know when to rotate or change up your displays. When do you know when to rotate it? So go ahead and check that out. Vern says, not everyone is available to watch live. Luckily, we had finished dinner here. Well, thank you for popping through. I appreciate that. I know the same thing can be said about me on Saturdays. I mean, we got the Toy Duo crew every Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. They go live. Vern and the rest of his crew, go ahead and check them out. But yeah, Archer, I agree. I actually had a really good turnout tonight because there's been times when I've only had 2 or 3, maybe 4 people pop up in the chat. I actually went live earlier. I went live at 8 o'clock instead of 9. I originally was going to schedule this at 9 o'clock. And by the way, I am no longer using StreamYard. This is all OBS. So I got rid of StreamYard. It's pricey and I'm not getting good quality. So by the way, I think it's time I did an update and take a look at what other streaming platforms are out there and what you're actually getting for them. So stay tuned for some videos on that, guys. The upgrade are guns based on the rifles from the vintage. Great turnout. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for popping through. Ultra Carzil says, speaking of G.I. Joes coming this week from Athantios Unlimited through Etsy, I should receive my upgrade guns. There you go. Cool. You know what you can do? If you get a 3D printer, you can print your own guns and your own accessories for G.I. Joe Classified series and others like Action Force and many, many, many more. You can even 3D print your own stands for your 6 and 7 inch action figures. So those are some food for thought, guys. 3D printers. It's a whole world of wonderment and amazement. You can even make yourself some magnetic signs to say G.I. Joe or X-Men or Spider-Man or just about anything. I mean, it's a thing. It is a thing. But guys, Tiger says we'll do. Guys, we'll see if I do. We'll see if I do another live next week. We'll see what happens. I have to plot out some content. But this weekend, I will be up in the Great White North. I will be in Canada at Hamilton Comic Con. So I probably won't. If I do any content, it might not be until Wednesday or Thursday of next week. But guys, I am going to be dropping a video related to 3D printing this week. Some interesting questions about 3D printing from a novice's point of view. But guys, until next time, you know what I'm going to say. I say it every single time. Keep on busting. And guys, you know what I'm going to say. I will always, always catch you on the flip side. Take care, guys.
Through the wires where circuits hum, 3D dreams are taking form. Print it loud, print it bold, tactile tales that never get old.